Daner, Mark Shalafoo, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush light, that dad life and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, alright? It's the Growler Reddit show, it's who Dey Light.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of Who Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr., Mark Shalafoo here with you on a Friday. Happy weekend to you, Mark. Happy Labor Day weekend to you. Extended free time. How we doing?
I'm doing great. I feel like it was last week's Who Dey Bright that has just really changed the energy in this entire city, and just good things just keep happening in the wake of it. And I think it's all our fault. So you're welcome, everybody. You are welcome.
Yeah, I mean, things could have continued to go terribly, but we decided to brighten everything up. And I think we might continue to brighten it up today. I feel like everybody's in kind of a good place. We're going to continue to go through a lot of good things today. Good things are happening. Trey Hendrickson is signed. This is the first time we've done one of these shows since Trey Hendrickson had signed.
They got a guard. They got a guard. We have a 3-day weekend. That's all because of us.
It's all because of us. Yeah, take full responsibility for that. We've got a live show coming up soon. We're going to talk to you about that. All kinds of questions that you guys have had. A lot of questions that we're going to get to. Man, there's just a lot for us to get to. We've got Ambush Light. We've got Growler Bet. We have a Growler Bet winner.
Woohoo! Finally,
that we're going to get to.
So a winner.
Some drinks given away. We're excited about that. Some controversy. Not going to lie about that. We're going to have another. We've got some Growl Pal spotlight, some Meth Raccoon weird story of the week, dad life, all the stuff you come to expect. We've got it coming your way. Before we do, though, we do need to tell you about our next live show.
Yes, we do.
Thursday down at BetMGM and Tom's Watch Bar down at the Banks. We will be down there. We got the crew. You know this show. It's a ton of fun. We're doing a full season preview. And so you can come down there 7:00 on Thursday, the 4th of September. We'll be there. We're going to be having the free graders there. We've got special parlay boosts that you can only get, bets that you can only get if you come in person to the show and bring that cash.
Let's go.
At the window. That's the only way you get these special boosts. My boost for that night, boost for the Bengals game on Sunday, boost for futures. I have a set group that you can get extra on just by coming to our show. The only place you can get it, not on your phone, nowhere else. So we have that coming your way. We're going to be giving away tickets to Bengals Jags. We're going to be giving away a Burrow jersey, and we have all kinds of media. It's going to be down there. I've got confirmation from Joe and Jeremy from Fox, Kelsey Conway from the Inquirer, Richard Skinner from Local 12. Our crew will be down there. All of us offering takes, observations, you name it, answering your questions, and we'll be giving away all kinds of stuff too. It is going to be a blast. One of our favorite shows, leading you right up to the kickoff of the season, Eagles and Cowboys, which is at 8:20. So we'll do about an hour and a half there of our show, and then hang out, have drinks. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait.
Yeah, so that's also it's a fun show to hang out at, just because there isn't a game everyone has to run off to. So you can stay, watch a little bit of that next game, ask your off the record questions that you wanted to, get an opinion on or the inside story on. That's the perfect time to do it, because everyone's there, everyone's hanging out. It's got that real party vibe to it. It's going to be awesome.
Can't wait. Hope to see all of you guys down there at BetMGM, Tom's Watch Bar. Gonna be a blast. All right. On that note, let's get into it, shall we? What do you got for me this week? What's your favorite story this week?
Well, before I jump right into that, I guess I think we should address the rumors about our show. Did you see the rumors about the Growler podcast that have been out there?
No, there's rumors. What are the rumors about our show?
So on my wife, who is an avid reader of Bengals Reddit, came to me and said that there was a thread immediately about how Jay got forced out of the show, pushed out.
What?
Yeah, and it was right after he announced that, he was taking a couple weeks off. He'd be back, at the start of the season. And that person referenced that post, and they were still like, yeah, I think this isn't the full story here. I think he's getting replaced. So that was the rumor that was out there. Some Growl Pals, it seemed, shut it down pretty quick. But yeah, they are right. Jay is coming back to the show. He has not been forced out unceremoniously.
Wow, unbelievable. I do love that we have Reddit rumors about our show, though.
Yeah.
That makes me excited. I mean, and it's like any good rumor where it's totally false and it can quickly be shut down with any kind of paying attention to detail. I like that. But I also love that we're in the Reddit rumor mill. It's a good place to be. It means you're somebody these days. Mark.
I know. When my wife told me there was a rumor about the podcast, I'm like, have you been texting with Paul? I mean, where else would the rumors that specific be coming from? But no, the vibes are still good on this show. The vibes are good on this team. That's where I'm starting this week, right?
Let's go.
Last week or last year, that was a big theme during training camp. The national media parachuting in saying the vibes aren't right, mostly because Jamar Chase was wearing a hat for all of training camp. I kind of mocked that on this show repeatedly last training camp and then all during the offseason. Then the vibes did sort of become an issue, cost them some games, and I felt dumb for that. So, like, here we are back in the same case, paying a lot more attention to the vibes this season, taking a lot more seriously. And it does seem like everything's great. You know, they locked in their stars. Trey Hendrickson wasn't as big a distraction as he had been at the beginning. And then that got done. Everybody seems on the same page and the vibes are pretty good. So I did want to start with our last official offseason vibes check because this is our last Dey Light before games start. And we got a question about this too. So I'm not the only one concerned about vibes. Pat said something I've noticed this offseason is the background noise in locker room interviews feels way more positive. That's where we're at. We're judging the background noise in locker room interviews. He says, would you say that there's a much better vibe in the locker room this offseason, or am I imagining things? So where are we at?
I'm glad to hear this because I get irrationally annoyed by the background noise in locker room interviews, as I have to either try to use them on the show or transcribe and listen to them over again to check in what guys are saying. There's been a lot more screaming in the background. If that is a sign of good vibes, I would agree with that. It seems guys are generally louder and yelling across the room, which is good. It's better than whispering about got a little idiot over here on the offensive side of the ball, right? Like, no, that's not happening. Yeah. So that I guess is good. It could still be happening, of course. I think you've heard about more of full team hangouts, you know, offense going out and doing something, all the rookies getting together, all the offense. Like there's a lot of that going on right now. I think they've tried to make a big point of emphasis on that stuff. And I think you can see it. I do think this week it was notable that it felt, and maybe it's just us in the media side, because we focus a lot of the negative energy around contract stuff that was going on, whether it was Shamar at the beginning and then Trey. And I don't know if Trey's like happy, but I don't know that he'll ever be happy, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of his demeanor. That's what makes him Trey. And so, but once that's done, I think everybody had this sense of, and you kind of clear everything else out of the room. And you're like, man, they got it all done and everybody's here and these guys are ready to go win this thing. Like you had a sense of the real sense of clearing of everything and momentum and excitement really start to hit this week. And I think you could feel everyone kind of looking around saying this team can do some things like that. And that's correct. But I feel like it's the first time you've kind of had that energy truly coming out of it this week now with the Hendrickson thing in the rear view.
And when they talk so much about starting fast and how that's the emphasis and everything, you got to think that's a positive then, right? That the vibes are high and everybody is on the same page. And it's not like this Hendrickson thing is lingering into that days before the game situation or even just the full week before. I think that's got to be a huge advantage to starting fast, right? Like,
yeah, I think Joe
give me the positivity. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
That's not the reason why. The reason why I think they feel like they're going to start fast is they have just had a month and a half of Joe Burrow's best August and July and soon to be September ever with T and Jamar, and all this continuity has been working together for all this time. Burrow's fully healthy. You know, to me, that's it. There's no lingering anything regarding what makes the engine go. The engine is working top notch the moment you hit the pedal. And that is what is going to make the difference, I think, in terms of fast start and momentum and all of those things. But yeah, the positive, I mean, there's never been positivity before. I just think right now the important reason to have positivity is the reason you do. And that's because you got 9, 5, and 1 all fully ready to go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
You got the
Rocking
shirt.
my Cincy shirt's glorious hoodie this morning too. You know what would have killed the vibes though, for real, is if they had to deal with like a Micah Parsons situation and doing that Hendrickson trade at the very end. What's your favorite story this week, Paul?
Excellent segue, Mark. Yeah, I mean, I just think tying up some loose ends on this conversation now with the Micah Parsons trade. I don't know how anybody can talk about the NFL right now and not be talking about the Micah Parsons trade, which is insane. I cannot believe it actually happened. And maybe even with the tea leaves that were out there about Jerry not being happy with Micah and it being, an impossible relationship to fix, and he's laying on the training table and all the stuff that was happening. Even with that, it's like, yeah, but they wouldn't really trade Micah Parsons. Like, that's crazy. Yet, there it was. And it was Kenny Clark, 2 1s, which my first thought was like, what would have taken to trade Trey Hendrickson? I think if I'm the Bengals, I might have traded Trey Hendrickson straight up for Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, or, throw in a day 2. You don't have to throw in just one day 2. Throw in a 3rd rounder. Kenny Clark on a 3rd for Trey Hendrickson. I think I might have done that.
I would have done it for at least one of those ones in Kenny Clark. I don't need both. I would take, the extra one.
But that's the difference, and I think that's how the league views Micah differently. He is different. I mean, he's obviously younger, but, he is just much more dynamic in terms of ability to move him around, and a lot of the stuff that Trey took dings for in this whole negotiating process. But I think it's really interesting, just to see that move happen. And then you think about, well, what the Bengals could have tried to do that. I don't know if they should have or whatever, but they didn't. I was just going through the list, or had ChatGPT rack up the list of players who had all-pro seasons in their first 5 seasons. One of their first 5 seasons, they were first-team all-pro. And they were traded before they turned 28. Like, how often does this happen? Pretty rare, right? Eric Dickerson to the Colts, Jared Allen to the Vikings when he was 26, Darrelle Revis from the Jets to the Bucks when he was 27, DeAndre Hopkins from just a few years ago, that trade when he went from the Texans to the Cardinals, Khalil Mack to the Bears. That was maybe the closest comp, and it's not even that close to Micah. Jalen Ramsey when he went from the Jags to the Rams and he was unhappy in Jacksonville. Minka, he was 22 when that Dolphins Steelers trade went down. Jamal Adams with the Seahawks at 24. DeForest Buckner went to the Colts. Christian McCaffrey trade from not too long ago, Panthers to the 49ers when they were moving on from him. That's kind of the list. And I think Micah's at the top of this list in terms of craziness of a deal. And the Bengals do have to play the Packers. The deal for Micah's crazy, $47 million per year, about 6 more million per year than the highest paid non-quarterback previously, which was at one point was Jamar Chase just a few months ago. Now he's like 3rd on that list.
Yep.
But so it's really interesting to see that. I wrote this story this week on how the Bengals became the most top-heavy team in football this offseason by design, by choice, and went through the numbers. I can pull up some of the top of these numbers, and it was total cash paid and then cap percentage. They were leading the league in total cash paid to their top 4 players, so just the top 4 players. And the cap percentage of those 4 players, the Bengals at 41.3% of the cap, $141 million in cash to those big 4 this year.
Nice.
It's a lot of money. And they lead the average, by the way, in the NFL for your top 4 players is 29.4% and 99.4 million. They just blew it out of the water. Now I'm curious where the Packers will end up now with Micah in that deal, because they were down around the league average. This will pop them up around the Bengals area. I don't know if they'll pass them or not. Depends on some of the T's and the lowercase J's on the contract. But I think that you're going to see maybe this happening more as the salaries get so out of control. And Brian Snow on Twitter pointed this out. He said maybe the Bengals kind of fell into what can be the new normal or set the trend on this new normal is you have quarterbacks, wide receivers, edges now, these contracts being so huge and escalating for stars with this continued decimation of the middle tier of the NFL. Is this what it looks like now? It's just these top, you pay your stars this huge amount and everything else just kind of filters out with rookie deals and undervalued mid-tier free agents and things like that. It's possible that the way the Bengals have set up their balance sheet this year ends up being the way of the future a little bit. And maybe this Micah Parsons trade is another example of that.
Could you imagine how much that right now Mike Brown in the front office would be getting killed if they had run this Parsons thing the way that the Cowboys did? Like, that's just crazy and that's why it feels surreal, is because all of these guys that were demanding trades, it's like the same playbook over and over. All right, TJ Watt's going to stay there. Terry McLaurin's not going anywhere. Trey Hendrickson's going to be a Bengal. And so for the Micah thing, like we saw, they're listening to trades. Where have we heard that before? No, he's going to be a Cowboy. And then they did trade him. And in a league where you do need those game wreckers and they're hard to find, which is why everybody just holds on to their own stars more and more and more. Like, that's just insane. It is insane they let him go for that deal. And I can't imagine how badly that they're just going to be getting crushed by all that media and what that would look like here.
Well, I think would look similar. I mean, the Cowboys and Bengals face similar levels of scrutiny considering how on the opposite side of the, NFL market they are.
Yes.
But they, I just feel like you hear deserved scrutiny of the Cowboys a lot and you hear deserved scrutiny of the Bengals a lot. Like, there's just a lot of that out there because they're easy to pick on when you haven't won a Super Bowl in forever. When things like this happen a lot, they always seem to be kind of going through this type of stuff. You have ownership that pushes back on players a lot. Jerry obviously does. The Bengals obviously do. You get similar levels of criticism because they operate differently. I think it would sound a lot like what we're hearing right now, but there's more media.
It would not be good. Yeah.
About Jer. But hey, I don't know. He's out here selling that their team's better, but this isn't a Cowboys pod, so I won't go further on that. But we'll
do you think it's good that that deal happened after Hendrickson? Like, do you think that they would still be able to get Hendrickson on his current
if you're Trey
deal?
And you see $47 million, it's just vomit, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, you gotta be kidding me. But it's another reason for him to get in, to have a great year and get into free agency and try to cash in on some of that. You had the high point in the edge market before this offseason was 35. It's now 47 per year. That's significant. So maybe Trey can get back on the flip side of it. But we've talked enough about that to this point. I do want to give you a shout out. You had a very predictive tweet week.
Yeah,
you did. You tweeted, now take a few more bucks from Geno Stone and get Risner locked up too. And it worked.
It did work.
I don't know that they went from Geno Stone, but I like to think that under the radar, they just keep stealing from the Geno Stone bucket a couple dollars at a time. You
got any change today, Geno? Throw in this bucket. We're going to try and get ourselves a new offensive guard here.
And then you said, let's see what else. This is after the trade news. Let's see what else Joe can do. Ask for a right guard and bring back the old Cracker Barrel logo. Both things happened.
And it's happened. You pulled it off.
You did.
That was all.
Two old men are back. Yeah, two old men are back.
The two old guys are back, baby. Let's go.
Dalton Risner's here, and you have the Cracker Barrel old man. So good. Way to go. What else do you want? What are you going to predict next week?
I don't know. Maybe I should do like some lottery numbers for the Growl Pals to all lock in on, or something like that, where we can all get rich quick. Maybe some big parlays that will that we can boost over at our live show.
Special parlay boost. There you go. Save those. All right. Speaking of, who's going to be there on Thursday?
Who's that?
Our guy Eric Stanyo, who is on board with Stanyo's yo-yos.
Stan yo-yos, let's go.
He liked the Stan yo-yos. And so he's got there's a possibility those could show up at one of our live shows. Stan yo-yos at our live shows. Very possible this year.
Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. Stan
It
Yo
does.
Yo is
Fox
at
and
the live
Sox
show.
here. Stan Yo, he's our guy, super reliable. Keller Williams Realtors. Do you know? I don't know how many. I mean, we have good reviews on our podcast. I don't know if it's as good as they have. They have well over 100 5-star Google reviews. You can go check them out and see what their past clients say. Tons of those there. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel and you'll see how good that is. It's go over to YouTube at Team Stanyo, SZTANYO. But the referral program is the hit right now. It really is. So if you or somebody you know is interested in buying or selling a home, you can just refer them. And if you send in a referral or you yourself do something, you are entered into a drawing to win Bengals tickets for this year. You can win Bengals tickets just by if you know somebody who is wanting to buy or sell a home, and you can hook them up with Stan. You'll get entered in, and you get a hat just for doing that. Guess what? Had another one. Bam.
Boom.
We
Let's
have
go.
another Growl Pal. Shout out to Growl Pal Ryan, whose nephew is now working with Stanyo, and he's got a hat and he's entered into the drawing. And then so for every two referrals that they get when they get closes, they're going to give away Bengals tickets. So go do that now. Hit them up at info@teamstanyo.com, or you can just go to www.teamstanyo.com to connect. He's our guy. You should do it. Get a hat. Love the hats.
Do you know what my favorite Stanyo stat is? And this is something that I do have a Stanyo stat.
Mark's got Stanyo stats.
Yeah, and because I was talking to him about this. And did you know that of all the Keller Williams realtors in the Ohio Valley region, so this is Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, where do you think he ranks out of all of those agents?
Ooh, I don't know.
Good luck.
How many agents are there? How many agents are there?
There are 4,200 agents that are included in this.
He ranks 69th.
Oh, that would be perfect for this podcast. But you know what? He's better than 69th. He is 12th out of 4,200. We got to push him to 1. That's got to be part of our campaign this year. Get Stanyo to number 1 in the region.
Love that. Shout out to Stanyo, and come say hi to him. He'll be there on Thursday. I think we're gonna play Smarter Than a Stanyo again. One of the game that is sweeping the nation. Excited about that.
It's an easy way to win prizes.
That's right.
Are you ready for some Growl Pal questions? We've got a lot.
Let's do it.
The last mailbag before we have real games, because there's no Dey Light next week since we have the big live show. So let's go right into it. This first one's from a guy that has done some trolling. He said online of you only out of love and for amusement purposes. That's how I like to start an email, right? Is you just say, like, hey, listen, I've got a confession. I'm a troll, but I do have a real question. He says, with all the holes in the offensive line and seemingly lack of development and bench players, how do you assess the effectiveness of new offensive line coach Scott Peters for the Bengals? I haven't heard much about his interaction with players or the media.
Players seem to like him. I mean, again, everybody likes everybody before you lose a game or get benched. So I think it's a big NA probably if we're going into the grade. I mean, you got to see the games first. We've got to see how these guys play. I think Fairchild appears to be a win right now through the early indications. Took a rookie, pinpointed the guy he thinks would be a fit for him. They gave him to him. He's played well so far. We'll see how it goes over the course of the season, but that feels like a win. He has Amarius Mims out here playing through injury in the preseason. That's a win. That was a thing that needed to be worked on with Amarius, to have him kind of be willing to go out there and toughen up and play through stuff and understand how good he can be even when he's dinged. So that's a win in terms of early wins, but it's going to be judged by how they play when the real games start, and we'll see and we'll judge then. But for now, all signs are good. I haven't heard any negative reports at all. And so it's going to be a lot of it's going to be about specifically Fairchild and Mims. I mean, those are his two big developmental prospects. They need to get those guys taking the next step. Everybody else as well, but those guys at the front and center. So we'll be watching that.
Yeah, and Rivers, if he has to see action, like he could be another one.
His transition to guard being early signs kind of promising could be another feather in Peter's cap. We'll see.
Now, what with the Risner signing, I don't know how quickly you get a guy like that up to speed. Is he in contention for the starting right guard spot, or is it just Lucas Patrick, do you think, in week one? Like, how do you see it shaking that?
I don't know if he's in contention for the starting spot. It's possible. I think a lot's going to depend on Lucas's health. So if Lucas is healthy and able to fully go, he's going to be the guy. He's been here all camp. I think Lucas and Dalton are kind of the same player. Okay, I know that I'm not going to go down the whole rant again that I've done here a couple of times. Like this, Dalton seems like a solid enough player. I know PFF grades have been very kind to him. When you talk to people, he's a Lucas Patrick level player. He's a Cody Ford level player, which is they needed another one of those. Like they badly needed another Lucas Patrick.
Yeah,
and they needed somebody who can come in and be a certain level of serviceable, specifically in pass protection. He could probably give you some of that. But it's not some level that it's like he's going to come in and immediately unseat. I don't see that being the case, assuming Lucas is fully able to go in the opener. I think he will be the guy, and Dalton will be in the background available, which is what Zac Taylor had to say this week. He will be available, probably be available week one. They're hoping they just, you've got to get through the week and a half of getting him up to speed and everything and avoiding soft tissue and all the things that come with stuff like this, but appears to be in good shape and all that stuff. But he's got to learn everything. He's got to get used to being, it's just week one. If he can do it, you put Lucas Patrick out there as the guy who has been doing it with everybody all of camp.
Well, we did get an email from John about Dalton, specifically if he is ready to go and make some plays. He says he loves the pod, looking forward to the Bengals season getting started. What are your thoughts on a Dalton Risner Roadhouse-style collaboration with Cincy shirts? He says a few thoughts here. Be nice until it's time to not be nice. Name's Dalton. Never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected. So, there's a few different shirt possibilities there for him. Would you be on board with that Cincy shirts collab with Dalton?
I like it. I'm on board. Are we at the level of shirts though already? Like
that's how desperate that the whole fan base is.
With the guard who is available in late August, we're going shirts. That's how desperate for guard play Bengals fans are.
Just some guard depth, just that Lucas Patrick insurance that you talked about in previous weeks that they needed. And now that they have it, that's just where we're at vibes wise, man. Everyone's psyched. There's just Trey's done. We're happy. We have a little bit more guard depth. So yeah, it's shirt season for backup guards. Why not?
Nobody wanted Lucas Patrick shirts. I know that much.
This one's from Kyle. He says, howdy, Mark and Paul. A more general NFL question for you. What's the thought process behind the 53-man roster and then being made to have 6 inactive players on game day? Why not just have all 53 active? Will the NFL ever change this rule? For a league that is all about the health and safety of its players, wouldn't this move be a step in that direction?
This is a good question. I like this. This reminds me of the Growl Gals questions where it's like timeout, this thing that we just all assume is normal here, that we understand this. Let's take a break and discuss this. I do get this a lot, and it is often misunderstood. It is about competitive balance. So if you have a team that has 5 major injuries to guys on their 53, you're playing somebody who has none, you want to even the competitive balance of that because everybody has some form of injury. So you only have 46 that are active on game day. And the standard elevations that you can do off the practice squad now help even out that competitive balance as well. You don't want people that have less amount of bodies at their disposal just because of injury. So it's an unfair number of players. You want to be the same number of healthy players competing against each other every week. And the way they combat that is with an inactive list and just having the inactives on game day, not going full 53.
Our next question here is from Mike. He says, big fan of the podcast. Always looking forward to the next episode. He says, I know I'm supposed to start the email with compliments, but I feel like previous emails have pretty much covered everything. So let's just say I agree with all the positive things that have been said about you guys.
There's a lot of people copping out on saying nice things about us.
Let's try harder. How about,
It's becoming a disturbing trend. Everybody saying, oh, other people said nice things, or maybe I've said nice things in the past, so I don't have to say them again. We'll come up with some new nice things to say.
We read these Growler Bet subjects. You guys can be creative. Like we know you have it in you. So like bring that to the compliments here. But he says his question is in regards to the front office. He says the news came out that they went extremely cheap with their invite for the Ring of Honor attendees this year. We've also heard reports at different times of agents having trouble with working with the front office, as well as former players have said that, Whitworth being the most public. So my question is, who exactly constitutes the front office? Are there a variety of people working on these different things? And do they realize how poorly some of these decisions reflect on the team? It's hard to care so much about the team while simultaneously being embarrassed and ashamed by some of the organization's decisions. That is from Mike.
Well, I mean, when you get into stuff like the Ring of Honor and some community relations stuff, you can get outside of the basic realm. But if we're talking kind of football and main decision makers with most of the stuff, I mean, Mike, Katie Blackburn, Troy Blackburn, Paul Brown, the granddaughters, Caroline and Elizabeth, and Duke are, when it turns specifically when you get into football and contracts and all of that stuff, Katie heading up the contracts, Duke essentially as general manager, de facto general manager. Now, when you get into the Ring of Honor, you're more in Elizabeth's world there. That would probably fall in her purview. She's the one who speaks. She's the one that kind of was behind the creation of it. She speaks when they say who's going to be honored. Like that's kind of her thing. So if you're talking about that probably falls in her area. But that's kind of if you're looking at general, and then under Duke, you have Steven Radicevic, you have Trey Brown, you have Mike Potts. You've heard from all of these guys on the podcasts over the years. And so they're kind of Duke's lieutenants. They're all AGMs now. And they work on different things. Contracts, they lead. Steve does a lot of the pro contract stuff. Mike does a lot of he does all the college stuff. Trey does a little bit of everything. Like you kind of have a little bit of all of it from them. So that is what I would say it constitutes. When you get into things like sales and other stuff, there are other names that would obviously get involved, but generally that's what constitutes the front office.
Were you surprised at all at the boomer sizing comments and the controversy that did kick up? Because it felt like the fan base was very divided, where some people were like, this guy's super rich, he can handle it. And other people were like, this is kind of embarrassing that they're just giving him a discount code.
I was on the embarrassing side. I mean, you want to have a Ring of Honor, you want to have a ceremony, you want to have the people that are in your Ring of Honor there, you want to be first class about it. That's what it looks like. If you want to do the thing, then you do it, And that's beyond talking about the public relations side of this man has a national radio show. That's not even touching on that topic. I mean, it's just do it right or don't do it. And the idea of a flight from LaGuardia to CVG and 2 nights, if that, at the Renaissance, for a guy who's got his name on the stadium and is a part of the ceremony,
Yeah, that could have been handled a little bit. Yeah, it could have been handled a little bit.
Supposedly have corrected that error. They have corrected that error and have.
Oh, so the controversy is over.
Got flamed.
Okay. Well, I guess it would have been nice to at least escape that news cycle.
No doubt.
Just do that ahead of time. But
because
you know what? It's a new thing. It's in progress.
Sorry. I want to say this is what I was talking about earlier about, people love to. Orlando Brown was like, yeah, for whatever reason, people have to fill the time. People love to clown the Bengals. They did sign everybody. I knew they were going to sign it. And all that stuff. There was a lot of like the Bengals would never sign. People laughed in Joe Burrow's face, right?
Yeah.
On the desk. Joe Burrow's on the desk in January saying, I'm confident we can do this. They're laughing at him, right? And they did it. Well, that's just because there's the reputation. But the reputation is, to me, it is haggling with players. It's not that they don't eventually pay players and pay their true stars well. They have kind of done that this offseason. It's this stuff.
Yeah.
It's this type of stuff. It's when you combine this type of stuff with the haggling, that's the stuff that over the years piles up on you, and it gets misconstrued sometimes. And the Bengals want to be like, no, we pay our players, look to the cap and the cash and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you wanted to take out a wedding block of hotel rooms for Boomer. Okay, like that's the stuff that resonates and builds the reputation more so than the truth is when it comes to the football. Quite often they do pay their stars.
And I know you kind of mentioned that point a little bit about just they might have fallen backwards into the new normal for the NFL and how teams start doing things. But at least they're starting to evolve in some of that stuff with the way they structured contracts and Trey Hendrickson getting a void year on his, that's a new thing, right? Like that's all positive stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's the right direction. It's not quite pulling all the levers that exist yet, but I mean, it is one of them.
It's in the right direction.
And they used it. Yeah. The contract that has, for those that don't know, it has one void year on it. So they take $3 million in cap hit this year and $10 million next year in terms of the extra money.
So okay. So that question,
spread it out.
Not as Houday bright as I wanted, right? We dip a little bit into Boomer stuff, which was kind of the only downer of at least recently. So we're going to jump right back into the positivity here. This is where most of the fan base is. Here's a question from Twitter. Question for you both. What's stopping this team from winning it all? That's where we're at. We are winning Super Bowls now.
Winning it all.
We have a generational offense. If the defense can be top 24, will that be enough?
Okay. So a little background and some research on what you need to do to win the Super Bowl, right? To be AFC champs again. So every conference champion, oddly, except for the Bengals in 21, had at least 11 wins. So you can kind of say you need to be a team that can get to 11 wins. So maybe start there. That's something that they haven't always done. I think that's obviously in play.
Yes.
It's going to be about this defense, as you point out. Getting 24 is not enough. 24th is not enough for this. If you're talking about this team,
winning the Super Bowl,
a team is winning the Super Bowl. 24th is not good enough. It's not. Now, you really start, if you go back and look over the last 10 years, there's only one team that has allowed over 400 points that won the AFC. And really when you get to it is you start having a real chance. Almost everyone, you're averaging 22 points per game allowed or less. That's basically everyone, certainly anyone that actually won the Super Bowl, which if you look at last year, kind of where that nets out, about 16th. That's the conversation starts at 16th to win the AFC. But I think for this team, even if they have the number one offense, which I think is a possibility, but with their offense, that's great. It's great to say 24th. No, the conversation starts if you're talking about real goals, winning the Super Bowl, winning the AFC, making a run. The conversation starts with 16th. And the only way around that is a defense that by the end of the year is playing like a top 10 defense. Maybe early they suck. Maybe they suck in September. And by December, the young guys have started to come together. Al Golden's got it figured out a little bit, and they're moving in the right direction. And you end up 16th net at the end of the okay. There's your I'll have that conversation. But there's no world where this team, even with the number one offense in football, is winning the Super Bowl with the 24th ranked defense. It's just, you can't do it. Not when you get to that level that they want to be at. But yeah, can they get to 16th? Can they start the conversation? Of course they can.
Yeah, and who knows what this defense is even capable of, because Al Golden went out of his way to put nothing on tape, so you can't judge him for better or for worse, because that's just what it is right now. But I think the real answer to that is, I think the defense can be there. It's injury. It's always going to be injury when you're that top heavy. So knock on all the wood that you can find. I think that would be the one thing holding us. I love that we went from a season of Joe Burrow playing like an MVP, missing the playoffs, to now like this team's winning the Super Bowl, right? Like that's the questions that we're getting right now. I don't think it's off. I mean,
when you have Joe Burrow, winning the Super Bowl is on the table every year. You need the rest of it to come together around him. And it always can. I don't think it's impossible. They need a lot to go right, but a lot of teams need a lot to go right.
Right.
So
and
I don't,
let's balance that one out with this one. What's the bottom line result Zac Taylor needs to achieve this year to avoid being on the hot seat? From one side of the pendulum to the other. What does Zac need to do to stay off the hot seat this year?
Well, for hot seat, he needs to make the playoffs to not have a hot seat. I mean, he has one now because of last year not making the playoffs and the wasted Joe Burrow year, so to speak. I would say the hot seat, if he makes the playoffs, he's not going to have, his seat will not be hot. Even if they lose in the first round, even if they go 10-7 and lose in the first round, his seat will not be hot. He will have never had a losing season. Well, not since they really got Burrow.
Yeah.
Since they truly restructured. And I would say the other thing would be he could have a losing if he doesn't make the playoffs, if he has a losing season, now I think there's real discussion of him being fired. But that's a losing season in games that Joe Burrow is healthy. If you have a Burrow injury or something and the season goes sideways, I don't think the front office is going to hold that against him.
Yeah.
Okay. And they don't want to fire Zac Taylor. They like Zac Taylor. Mike is in Zac's corner. They believe in him and they love what he does specifically with Joe and ability to make the offense work. They've had a really good offense. They like who he is as a communicator. They like so many things about Zac Taylor. So they want it to work. And we know the patience that this organization has with head coaches. We know it. Okay. So whenever you think it should happen, add one or two.
Yeah.
Like that's been consistent over time. Or in the case of some, add 8. Right? Like it's just from Shula to Marvin, it's just for all in between. It's always been a little more than you probably thought it would be.
I mean, Burrow loves
this is the guy that's won more with Burrow than any of those guys.
And that helps. I mean, Burrow liking Zac, when the GM is on board with you, that's going to give you some extra protection. So I definitely see that playing out. Our next question, and again, we're taking all questions at the growlerpodcast@gmail.com. That's the best way to get yours read. This one, do you see the Bengals making any other moves before the start of the season? Safety, edge, swing tackle, defensive tackle. It feels like a push all your chips in kind of year.
Not really. I think maybe as the season gets going a little bit, you might. Justin Simmons being out there and Charlie having to chug a beer is still on the table, I think.
That'd be great.
So excited about that idea. I don't think that's out of the question. Injuries can always force their hands a little bit. They have money to spend if they so choose. I think they could sign Justin Simmons. He has mentioned a couple of times publicly that he's interested in Cincinnati and coming here. So that could be hanging out there. If you go out there in the first week or two of the season and Geno Stone is bad or Jordan Battle's bad or somebody gets hurt, that certainly seems like a spot. I'm still surprised that PJ Jules is the answer at the 4th safety right now. I mean, Dejan's hurt, but like that felt like a spot that you could have seen them approach the waiver wire or go after a couple of different veterans that were available. They didn't do that. I think they like PJ Jules, but like he's still, that's not you liking a guy and is one thing. But if push came to shove and he had to play is another. So I could see Simmons or something like that happening, but I think for now to the opener, I think their roster's set.
Yeah, and I know they have some money, especially with how they did the Trey stuff. But what always surprised me, because I was this guy at the beginning of the offseason, they've got so much cap space. What are they doing? How come they're not spending this money? But they really were sort of in the middle of the pack for that. Like there are other teams out there that still have, big chunks of money too that they could spend. So I don't know. Like sometimes I'll read Twitter. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's bring in Wilkins and get him on a 1-year deal and throw him. So let's just really escalate things and go all the way here.
I do want to say, I want to point out, excited about this when I saw it. Somebody went in and pointed out you guys should go back and look at the mock off-season sheet again. So I did. I went back and I put in all the moves that the Bengals did, including the way they did the Trey Hendrickson thing. And the mock off-season sheet again ended up within $4 million of where they actually are. It was a realistic exercise again this year after going back and kind of looking through it. So excited about that.
Extra validation for that.
I love that thing, man. That thing has proven we've got the formula down pretty good on that. Although they didn't do a ton of outside sightings. And Slayton wasn't even on the sheet. Which goes to show you where that one came from a little bit, but still we had it pretty good. And you go back and look at what a lot of people had. I mean, the cuts that you guys all wanted outside of, I guess a lot of you had Geno Stone, a lot of it ended up happening.
Here's a quick Ambush Life question for you. This is from Christian. He says, Paul, J, Mark, but definitely not Charlie. Would love to hear if you have any Gary Burbank stories. I think the height of his popularity might have been before your time, but man, he was appointment listening in the afternoon for me and my old man. Of course, RIP to the great Gary Burbank, who passed away this week. Yeah,
sad to hear that. He, you know what? You talk about impact. When you can have an impact where you've created like multiple, I remember writing whenever the Bengals would be in any kind of soap opera. I have multiple stories. You could probably search it that I have referenced all my Bengals, which was a common thing. Anytime you hear "we don't mess around," I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've said that phrase from Sports or Consequences over the years. I mean, that is a legend. I mean, his presence is legendary, and there's so many, pieces of Cincinnati sports pop culture that came from him and from those shows. And so that I never met him specifically, but certainly was even without that was very much impacted just in all the stuff and growing up around it.
Yeah, and maybe we should do some Sports or Consequences at the live show then, in memoriam.
Love that.
Maybe that'll be how we give away our Bengals tickets. Maybe we'll do like a drawing or something. See if people can stump you guys with questions.
That's it. When you've got all the media people there, that's what we do. Show up, hand in a question, a trivia question for us to try to answer, and we'll do Sports or Consequences with it. And we will see if you can stump us, we'll put you in that you'll be amongst those that are the names that we're picking from. If you can stump us with something within reason, it can't be like, name me the exact number of rushing yards that, D.D. Dorsey had in the preseason in 2017 or something like that. Although I could probably get close to that. I do think. But I think between us, any kind of a question that isn't crazy, that'd be a fun one to do. I like that. Let's do that. That's how we'll give away the Bengals Jags tickets.
I mean, Stanio does his referral program raffle every two closes it is or whatever is in the raffle. Yeah. This might be even better odds because it's going to be hard to stump all 8 of us. So there's a good chance that whoever does it is the one that's going to the game that first week. So
and then we get to chant, we don't mess around. Hey, which is
it's a great way. Yeah, carry the legacy on.
It's a good chant.
Growler Bet. We got to settle some growler bets.
Yeah, that's right. So we have 2 growler bets to settle this week, not just one. Okay. We have the Trey Hendrickson growler bet has come to a head. So if you remember, this was way back in the beginning of this mess. I think it was probably right around the beginning of training camp. We had a bet for the date he would sign, but it was the date of the wall pick. The picture of the guy happy signing in front of the Paul Brown wall. I love the wall pick. And a lot of you had August 25th, which ended up being the day the news broke, and the Bengals put out their announcement of it, but it was not a wall pick. So controversy ensued. Come to find out, they were trying to make wall pick not be a thing. They didn't want wall pick to be a thing.
Wow. So they were getting a little heat of the wall pick, and then they take it away.
much like the Reddit rumor, I was just happy to be part of the conversation. Okay. All right. And so anyway, no wall
shamed
pick.
him into it.
I don't know if it's because Trey didn't like how much he kind of had gotten clowned for the first wall pick.
Yeah, that was.
I mean,
that
as
was
Mo
a big
pointed
one.
out on the radio, it's still hanging in their studio in Montgomery. But that said, so I don't know that. But there was no wall pick. No wall pick came. So I used the photo that they put up of Trey after a sack. Now, 5 of you picked that date. Well done, Growl Pals. You guys were on top of it. Unfortunately, only 2 of you followed directions properly. We had the tiebreaker being the color of the shirt that Trey would be wearing in the wall pick. And one of you gave time, and 2 of you just didn't offer any tiebreakers. So you all were eliminated. That left 2 people, one who said black shirt, another who said white shirt. He was in his black jersey in the photo that they put out. So we're giving it to our winner, Peter Jakes. Peter Jakes, congratulations. You are the winner of some drinks on us at our live show, either this next one or anytime during the year. Send me an email. Let me know if you're coming, or just come track us down at the show, and we'll make sure we have you hooked up for some drinks at our next live show. And congratulations for following instruction. And by the way, Dalton Risner signed. You know what happened?
What?
Wall pick.
Oh, the wall pick is back.
Wall pick was back.
It's
you can't
back.
hold us down. Hashtag wall pick, baby.
I do want to say, make sure that Peter brings some form of identification, since you did just say his full name. That could just be any random guy could just show up and be like, hey, I'm the guy. I'm Peter.
I'm the guy. I'm Peter.
And then he shows up a half hour later looking for his drinks, and somebody's already swiped them away.
Yeah,
what's
true.
The second growler bet we got to settle?
The second growler bet to settle was Desmond Ridder passing yards in the preseason finale. The answer was 75, and no one was that pessimistic.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, I don't even think there might have been, maybe there was 169, but there was some 169s, but no winners there. There were a few good subject headers. This from SCBU. I drove my car into a lake, left my wife and kids, and made a growler bet. Shout out to the story about my friend from Key West. You guys have really liked that story. I might have to get him on the show at some point to check in if he's still with us. Tracking him down will be hard. I'm not gonna lie.
But you're a top-notch journalist. You can get that done.
Yeah, I mean, I do have his number. I just
that's a good start.
I get nervous. I get nervous reaching out to him. Let's be honest. You got to be careful how quickly you bring Phil into your life. But I'm glad you guys have latched onto it. Feels like maybe a next June thing, you know?
Yeah. Search for him.
Fill some summer shows. We can do the search. Ray White, who said the legendary Ray White, who said he was attending a wedding, says the growler bet was a gift, Todd. I'm taking it with me. Appreciate that. What a good Wedding Crashers reference.
That movie, that's a legendary movie for people of a certain age. That really sticks out. Those
people
quotes
of my age,
around. Yeah,
and a lot of our listeners.
Yep,
yeah,
it was a classic.
I'm gonna guess Charlie wouldn't know it.
Yeah, probably not, because SpongeBob's not in it. So yeah, he probably won't appreciate
no Josh.
Good 2000s comedy.
Tyler T it's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and Charlie Jones is the new Alex Erickson. Well done. It didn't connect to anything, but I just liked it. Shout out Tyler T on that one. And then one last one. The Bengals organization is excited to celebrate our Legends community and kindly invite you and a guest to join us in celebrating Dave Lappin and Lamar Parrish on Ring of Honor weekend. If you are traveling in for the weekend from out of town, we have secured a block of rooms at the Renaissance Hotel at a preferred discounted rate. Promo code Growler. Rooms are limited, so please book directly for early and the best rate. So appreciate you bringing the boomer bit out, which the boomer thing happened right as we were recording last week. I felt like we should have been doing an emergency Dey Light when that news broke.
Yeah.
No story has been more perfectly baked up for Dey Light than that one was, and we missed it by like 20 minutes.
I do like the whole emergency podcast thing. I mean, nobody Like, I just like that is the terminology that people use. Like, that's the most urgent thing. Like, people need this now. It is an emergency podcast.
It is.
Just put yourself in line with first responders and everybody like that. It can't be breaking news podcast. It can't be, it's got to be emergency podcast.
Emergency. This is an emergency.
Growl Pal Spotlight this week. We are highlighting here, and this is our segment where we kind of look at the cool things the Growl Pals are doing, whether it's a small business, charitable cause. We like lifting up our community. That's what this show's about, right? Our partners. Stanio, he is a Growl Pal. We've had a lot of fun Growl Pal spotlights. We've had people connecting over small businesses. We've had people looking for organs. So we really run the gamut with these.
Do we have any kidney updates? Did we deliver a Growl Pal kidney?
I don't know if we have yet, but I will say this: if somebody does donate a kidney, they can also have a Stanio hat. That's not going to be a drawing thing. We'll get you the graders. Anyone that wants to donate a kidney, we'll just sign you up for all the prizes.
All the prizes.
But this week we're highlighting the 5th annual National Collegiate Cancer Foundation / Kevin Carrico Memorial Golf Scramble at California Golf Course on Saturday, October 4th, 2025. And so Jeff reached out about this golf outing that he put together for his late son. And here's the backstory on this. He partnered with the foundation to host this event in the memory of their son, Kevin, who passed away at the age of 25 from cancer. He was in his 3rd year of medical school at the University of Louisville. And to keep his legacy going, all the funds raised at the event go to scholarships for young adults impacted by cancer. This is their 5th year. In the previous 4 years, they've raised over $95,000.
Wow.
So we'll put the link to their event on our socials or in our show notes here. And I think Stanio is sponsoring a hole at that golf outing.
Yeah.
Too. So again, Growl Pals all coming together on this. That's going to be a really fun one in October. So if you're somebody that likes to golf anyway, do it for a good cause. Do it for a Growl Pal and be part of that cool event.
Love that. Yeah, please do. And good on Stanio for doing that. And we'll have, that'll be in the show notes if you want to go in, if you want to donate, be part of the event, sponsor, whatever you want to do. Check them out. Good work they're doing.
We have a quick update to our Cowboy Cody / Meth Raccoon weird story of the week that we talked about in a previous episode about the zoo in Denmark that was accepting pets to feed to the animals. And they got lots of pets, mostly like guinea pigs and rabbits and stuff. But there was one 13-year-old girl whose mom made her donate her beloved pony to be eaten by lions. Lions. So I guess the pony was sick and, probably needed to be put down. But instead of just the natural, like, all right, we're going to do it this way and that's that, they're like, nope, we're going to take it to the zoo, euthanize her there, and then feed her to the lions. And I don't know if I was a 13-year-old girl and my beloved pony was eaten by lions, if I could ever enjoy the zoo the same way after that.
No, that's tough. I like the idea of the parents using that as the ultimate trump card to scare their kid into just doing whatever's right. Just be like, look, if you don't eat your dinner, I will feed your new pony to the lions. We'll do it again. I'll make you watch. And just really tap into the most traumatizing moment of their childhood over and over again as a form of forcing them to do what you want them to do. Feels like wild things are happening in Denmark, but I wouldn't put it past these parents. If you're going this far, there are no limits.
Yeah, that is definitely the tool that you're using in every parenting decision. Like if you finish your homework and then they pull out that stuffed lion animal, right, just to hold it in front of her face, like, hey, you know what can happen if you don't clean your dishes up. I think that's just going to be the constant threat over her head. I'm glad our zoos don't do that.
Yes, thank you, Thane Maynard and everybody at the Cincinnati Zoo for not doing that.
Maybe that's why Trey Hendrickson likes our zoo so much, is because they don't feed kids ponies to the animals. Here's some quick stand-up.
Where are you at next? Where are you at next? Are you on the
this
road?
weekend? I am at the Toledo Funny Bone with our guy Josh Sneed. So any Toledo Growl Pals, come out and see us, hang out. Those shows are going to be a lot of fun. September 5th, Commonwealth Comedy Club in Cincinnati. September 22nd through 28th, I'll be at the MGM Grand in Vegas. And then October 9th through 12th, that's a big one. I'm headlining Go Bananas in Cincinnati. So any Growl Pals that want free tickets to that, reach out to me, send me an email, and I'll hook that up. And then I'm coming down to Owensboro, Kentucky, October 17th, and Dayton, October 18th. And November, December, and next year, the rest of that's all on my website, markshalafu.com.
Awesome. Love
Great
it.
plugs.
Got Josh up, you and Josh parading around Toledo. This weekend. How about that? Do you guys have big plans? What do you do when you guys go to Toledo together?
I will say the hotel is in, one of those little outdoor malls. It's right by the club, and they do have some nice restaurants there and a movie theater. So I can't imagine we'll probably even leave the property. We will just mostly be there. College football fires up this weekend, so we'll find a place to watch some games. And so if you live in Toledo and you want to come watch football with us, we would also appreciate you coming to the show and spending money on the comedy that we're there to do. But if you just want to watch football with us too, we'll be there.
Head down to the local Wings and Rings or whatever. You guys,
whatever is in the complex, really.
Yeah.
Dad life. What do you got going on?
Dad life. Here's my dad life this week. So we're having a lot of fun figuring out things that the kids want to watch. They've kind of tapped into some of the new shows on whether it's in Netflix or whatever. But what has taken over now was we started by showing some of the shows of our youth and tracked down Double Dare, where you can watch all the old episodes of Double Dare.
Where can you find
by the way, the early episodes of Double Dare before they figured out like the physical challenges and the people getting messy and slimed was way more exciting than answering trivia questions. Like kids answering trivia questions, not as fun as people trying to pick boogers out of a giant nose, right?
Sounds like we need some physical challenges at the live show then.
Yeah.
That's more exciting to see.
Need more physical. If anybody has access to the giant nose, I would 100% be on board with that. But they've started watching Guts, for those of you that anybody remembers Guts from when you were younger, potentially. In fact, one of our good friends was on Guts, and we watched the episode when she was on Guts, and she lost. She did not.
Oh, that's tough. She didn't get a piece of
the top of the aggro crag fast enough.
That's a cool trophy because they all got the little piece of it. You can find some of those on eBay now because those kids weren't successful in life after winning that aggro crag. That'd be a fun birthday gift for your daughters if they're getting into Guts.
But it's crazy now because my kids are like, they get all excited. Like, look, if we do everything right, if we get in our jams and we eat all our dinner and we clean up and we do it, can we watch an episode of Guts? It's like, that is what has them going right now. And it makes me so happy inside. This is where
do you get old episodes of Guts? Where's that streaming?
On Paramount. I think we ended up with access to Paramount. And we were going through it and found this stuff. And so now I think that's where it is. Don't hold me to that. I think that's where it is.
Did your kids ever get into Floor is Lava, the Netflix show?
Yes.
Okay,
they did all three. They devoured all 3 seasons of Floor is Lava in a heartbeat.
I still want to try and hack into your Netflix somehow and just force K-pop Demon Hunters on your daughters because every other girl dad in the country right now is just consumed by that. And there is a real divide, but even in the parenting community where you look at like people that have boys, people that have girls, because the girl dads are just like consumed by it. The songs play nonstop, and then everybody else has just never heard of it. And it's now Netflix's biggest movie of all time. You can't escape it forever. So just reconcile that with your future. It's coming your way.
I'm trying to avoid it at all costs. What do you got going on?
So I'm still thick in soccer season. We're off this weekend, which is great. But this past week was the first time I had a game with one team at the same time another team was supposed to be practicing. So I thought, I can leave the assistant coach in charge for one night. If it's not the perfect practice, who cares? It's rec soccer. As long as they run around and have fun, what could go wrong? And I came home from the game and asked my other daughter, I said, how was practice tonight? And she said it was bad. The coach made us throw fireworks at each other. I was like, okay, well, maybe it can go more wrong than I thought. Like, that's never had that. I thought maybe they won't do throw-ins right. Not, we're going to have the kids throw fireworks at each other. And it turns out they were firecrackers. He gave all of the kids firecrackers and told them to throw them at each other. And that's how they ended practice. And you know what? Maybe we're now going to be the toughest team in the league. We just roll with that. Just some kids in soccer, they're afraid of the ball and flinching. Our kids are taking firecrackers to the face and not flinching. So I see a championship in our future.
Yeah, it's the Happy Gilmore in the batting cage scenario, right? It's just
yes,
got to
the
toughen
modern
them
version.
Up. Got to toughen them up.
And it worked out for Happy. He was able to go on to great success 2 different times in the golf world. So maybe that is the recipe. And I do think that's going to be our team name now, is the Firecrackers, because we have red jerseys. And so I think it's going to be a good team bonding / intimidation thing.
Yeah, that's what you do. You do it before every single match. You like stand up, everyone gets in a little half circle facing the opposing team, and you guys just start throwing firecrackers at each other and just like watch the other team wilt in fear.
Yeah, they might be kicking balls around the field. We just have our captains throwing them in the faces of every girl and just not flinching. And yeah, that'll psych out anybody.
You ever seen in rugby when like the New Zealand team will do their whole dance before they start, where they do the whole, have you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I
very
feel
well
like that,
choreographed.
this is kind of your version of that. You're just like the New Zealand rugby team.
We are just like the New Zealand rugby team. That is what people say about my U10 rec girls soccer team.
That's right. Love it. Well, good luck. Let me know how that goes. And if throwing fireworks does become a regular thing, I can't wait to find out. We can find out more about it on Thursday at the live show. Hopefully we'll see you guys all down there. Reminder on that, it is Tom's and BetMGM is 21 and up only now. So you do have to be 21 and years of age or older to get in. But we'll be in there. Parlay boosts, Burrow jersey. We're going to be playing Sports or Consequences for Bengals Jags tickets. And we'll be offering all of our thoughts on the season, full podcast in there. It will post the next day up to the feeds and stuff. But if you want to come down there, be a part of it, ask questions, try to win stuff, all those things, hang out with us afterwards and watch the game. Come on down to BetMGM and Tom's Watch Bar at the Banks. Hope to see you down there. All right. Thanks everybody for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.